So the Los Angeles Clippers are in the news, and for those of you who don't know who they are, they're that other basketball team in L.A. And I call them that because for many, many years, they shared the Staples Arena with the Lakers, and as everyone knows, Kobe and the Lakers were hanging banners, whilst the Clippers were fighting to make the playoffs, and at the same time, just barely fighting to make the first round. Now, prior to about 2020... prior to 2020, the Clippers had never seen a conference finals ever. Closest they ever got was the semis, getting knocked out by Denver in 2019 to 2020. In 2014 to 2015, they got knocked out by the Rockets. 2013 to 2014, they got knocked out by the Thunder. And of course, in 2011 to 2012, they got swept by the Spurs. Now, the key things about that stint between 2012 to 2015, when they managed to make the conference semis, is they were led by none other than one of the greatest point guards of all time in Chris Paul. Now, for those of you that are unaware, Chris Paul turned 40 in May, and he is officially headed back to LA. Now, the saddest thing about this whole Chris Paul thing is he was initially meant to be a member of the Lakers when he left the Hornets, but you know what I'm saying, David Stern came in, booted that out the door, so that never happened. But anyway, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Alvin Mike, aka I don't know what, and welcome back to L.T.A. Now, before we get into the full breakdown on this vid, I gotta say thank you for the support shown on the Marcus Smart video. We managed to cross, 11 likes on the video, which is a milestone for us because I don't think we've hit double digits before, but it was beautiful how we hit it so quickly. And a bunch of you commented and let me know what you think that Marcus Smart pickup will do for the Lakers. Now that we've done that, in this video, if you enjoyed today, don't forget to do me a favor, go and hit that like button. Let's at least try and get 10 likes again because it felt sensational to do it within 24 hours. If you have a comment on whether you think Chris Paul joining the Clippers does make them playoff contenders, let me know down below. Or if you think that it's just him doing his final lap and just leaving on a high, also let me know that. And lastly but not least, if you are not yet, hit that subscribe button and turn post notifications on. We are trying to get to 100 subs before the end of August, and it would be highly helpful if you do so. But yeah, back to the Clippers. For those of you that are unaware, the evil stepchild of LA is officially back in the news. As I said before, first things first, Chris Paul is joining the Clippers. Now, he has come out and willingly admitted that this will be his final season in the NBA, being his 21st, which it's kind of sad because someone like me, I grew up watching Chris Paul. I'm a short guard, so I always tried to learn how to play basketball from guys who were like me, along the lines of the Rondos, the Chris Pauls, a little bit of the Russell Westbrooks, because you know what I'm saying, but the main other emphasis was Dwayne Wade, just because he was an undersized shooting guard, and those three guys basically allowed me to see what it took to be small and still be able to compete. So it's a fulfillment moment because we get to see one of the greatest point guards of all time finish off his career on a high, because obviously last year in San Antonio, he managed to do a thing, I believe he averaged around 9.7 or 8 assists. Okay, actually, I got the numbers up. He averaged about 8.8 points, 7.4 assists, 3.6 rebounds, and 1.3 steals and 0.3 blocks per game, playing approximately 28 minutes a game, which for a guy who was 39, that's really productive, especially with the fact that Chris Paul was taking more of a backseat role and facilitating so that Wemby could do what he needed to do. However, I will say Chris Paul joining the Clippers does not put them in high playoff contention, in my opinion. If anything, this is going to end up the same way we've seen with the Clippers before, which is it's going to be a second-round knockout at best. And the reason I'm giving them a second-round knockout is because outside of Chris Paul, they've also made some other really good contributions. Now, obviously, the first thing to mention is they did lose Norman Powell, who joined my Miami Heat. And for those of you who are unaware, Norman Powell was the second highest scorer on the team, I believe, second or third last year. So that makes a big impact for them. But they did make some ground in regards of being able to build a team that's more solidified for making a playoff run. First things first, James Harden's obviously still on the team, which is great, mainly because he isn't MVP Harden, but he is a guy who can give you reliable numbers with his ability to facilitate as well as score, as last year he averaged about 23 points, 8.7 assists, 5.8 rebounds, whilst also getting, not one block, he got about 1.5 steals and 0.7 blocks a game, which is highly respectful. And then to pair up with him in the backcourt, obviously, if you haven't heard yet, Bradley Beal got his contract bought out by the Phoenix Suns and is officially a member of the Clippers. He, again, is another guy who he won't be what he's always been. I expect him to average around 15. But when you compare it to Chris Dunn and Bogdan Bogdanovic, it's a major improvement over Bogdan. When it's compared to Chris Dunn, Really good offensive improvement. However, on the defensive side, I think you're going to lower a little bit just because Chris Dunn is a much better defender on the ball than Bradley Beal really is. Obviously, returning at the 3 is Kawhi, one of my favorite players of all time. If I ever get the time, I will make a more detailed video about why and why I think people sleep on him. But either way, Kawhi is returning. Only issue is he most likely won't give you a bunch of games throughout the regular season. But here's to hoping he's healthy throughout the playoffs, because then they can make a major push. And the benefit of that is you've got Derrick Jones Jr. sitting behind him, of course. When it comes to the power forwards, they made a major improvement in signing John Collins, who's a young 27 athletic power forward. He does allow them to be a bit bigger in the paint, averaging about 19 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 2 assists last season with 1 block and 1 steal. This is a great pickup, in my personal opinion, the best pickup they made throughout the entire offseason, because this facilitates them inside. They no longer need to run a small formation whereby they have Derrick Jones and Kawhi Leonard on the floor at the same time, because yes, Derrick Jones Jr. is kind of tall, but the main issue is he's significantly underweight, whereas with John Collins, he's not the most bulky dude on the floor, but he's tall and muscular enough whereby if you run into a team that has someone like Giannis, at least you have someone you can fully send at him without always needing to send Kawhi. Because now at least, if you match up against the Lakers, John Collins won't match up amazing against LeBron, but with how old LeBron is, he does go par for par, and now you can fully determine Kawhi on being sent towards Luka, which somewhat neutralizes the Lakers. When it comes to the 5, they obviously have Ivica Zubac staying in, and that allows a lot more competitivism because Zubac is a funny guy. Like, people don't really pay attention to what he does, but Zubac is one of the most reliable players throughout these past few seasons. You will notice that he averaged about 16.8 and 12.6 last year. And then if you look at the seasons before that, he averaged 11.7 and 9.2, 9.9 and 10.8. Basically, he's always hanging around a double-double, with last year him really showcasing that he has the ability. Plus, he played 80 out of the 82 games, which is really beneficial. But then another great pickup that the Clippers made in the offseason was they did sign Brook Lopez as well, which allows them to have a lot of size on the inside. So overall, looking at the roster that they have and the players that they have, I do believe this moves them up slightly within contention. Do I believe it means a lot for them playoff-wise? No. If I had to give them a seal of approval with the Alvin meter, I'm saying these guys are due for a second-round knockout that last 6, maybe 7 games. They won't make it to the conference finals just because, looking at the other teams within the West, I believe more in the Nuggets, I believe more in the Thunder, and I definitely believe more in the Rockets. And that's 3 teams at the very least. The Timberwolves could also probably knock them off just because, yeah, Anthony Edwards really has that dog, and Julius Randle has proven to us that he can really play. So, yeah. Does Chris Paul joining the Los Angeles Clippers make them playoff championship contenders? No. But it does make them certain to make it to the second round and possibly get knocked out there, which, ironically, for Chris Paul's career in Los Angeles, would be quite fitting just because, yeah, as we said before, that's what the Clippers were doing when he was back there, and Doc Rivers couldn't get them to win a ring. But hey, don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more content like this, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel and you haven't done so yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn post notifications on. And lastly but not least, I enjoyed this in the last video and I will enjoy it now. Down below in the comment section, let's have a discussion. What do you think happens with the Clippers this year? Do you think they make it far? Or do you think we see a major upset and they just get knocked out in the first round? But yeah, it's been your boy Alvin Mike. I'll catch you in a bit. Deuces.